ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Hari. Let us read verses 51 to 53 that we have seen last class. ऋणमोचनकर्तार पितु सन्ति सुताद्ययः बन्धमोचनकर्ता तु स्वस्मादन्यो न कश्चन मस्तकन्यस्तभारादेः दुःखमन्यै निवार्यते क्षुधादिकृता दुःखं तु विना स्वेन न केनचित् पथ्यम् औषधसेवा च क्रियते येन रोगिणा आरोग्यसिद्धिर्दृष्टाय नान्यानुतिष्ठकर्मणा. So in these three verses, Bhagavan Shankaracharya has given three examples. One is very external problem, a financial problem. The second example is a burden directly on your head. And the third example is in your body. Together, they drive home the point. When there is a subjective problem, someone else cannot solve the problem. They may be able to help, but you alone have to act and solve the problem. If you are hungry, you have to eat. If you are ill, you have to take the medicine. Similarly, the bondage, the samsara that you are in, you have to remove yourself. That's the main point. Now, in all these examples, dukkha, 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 sorrow is there. You should give some nice example, ananda examples also. So now he gives a nice example for ananda. Let us read verse 54. Vastuswarupam sputabodachakshuषा Vastuswarupam sputabodachakshuषा Svenaiva vedyam na Svenaiva vedyam na tu panditena Chandraswarupam nijasakshushaiva Chandraswarupam nijachakshushaiva Nyatavyamanyairabagam kim Nyatavyamanyairabagam kim Vastuswarupam sputhabodachakshusha Svenaiva vedyam natu panditena Chandraswarupam nijachakshushaiva Nyatavyamanyairabagam kim. So Bhashyakara gives another nice example here. And he wants to emphasize repeatedly that you have to work for your moksha. You have to do the work because there is a lot of misconception with regard to this. Because there are certain systems of philosophy that say that moksha is the will of God only. You have no say over your moksha. Bhagwan alone has to decide your moksha. And they also cite some supporting Upanishad mantras also. For example, Mundaka Upanishad says, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyah na medaya na bahuna shrutena yamevaisha vrunute tena labhyah tasyaisha atma vivrunute tanum swam. So this mantra seems to support this view. If Bhagavan chooses you to give you liberation, you will get liberation. Bhagavan decides you will get moksha. So no sadhana is required. Bhagavan has decided against your moksha. Any amount of sadhana you do, useless. Either way, your sadhana is useless. Why? Bhagavan is favorable to you, sadhana is not required. Bhagavan is not favorable, sadhana is useless, however much you do. Either way, they say you have to just do Sharanagati, surrender and just hope for the best. Bhagavan will bless you with moksha. Even Bhagavad Gita says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchah. I give up everything. Just surrender to me. I will absolve you of all your sins and liberate you. Bhagavan says. So these are confusing verses. So we have to understand these verses the right way. So some people have concluded, Bhagavan will give moksha and I don't have to do anything. Here Bhashyakara, Shankaracharya wants to take out all such false notions. He puts the responsibility squarely on your head and says, you have to work for it. The knowledge has to be gained with the help of my intellect only. I cannot use somebody's intellect to gain the knowledge. Some other intellect may be scholarly. Some other person may have a smarter intellect. Even the sadhana chatushraya sampanna alone, that intellect no use. I have to use that. There is a beautiful moon in the sky and you want to enjoy that moon, you have to use your own eyes. Somebody else seeing the moon and giving a beautiful description of the moon, that also will not help for you to enjoy the full benefit. Those descriptions are nice to hear and all that. But to enjoy it completely, I should see the moon with my own eyes. Somebody else seeing, useless for me. Useful for that person. And he gives a brilliant description also. I have, with the help of my own buddhi. That's the idea here. Vastu Swarupam, he says. Vastu means reality. The ultimate truth is called Vastu. In Sanskrit, the word Vastu has two meanings. One meaning is any object in the world. That's called Vastu. A chair can be called Vastu, a pen, a book, any object. That's one meaning. But in the context of Vedanta, the word Vastu has a very specific meaning. And this is the Paramartika Satya, the absolute reality. The corresponding opposite, Avastu, means Mithya, unreal. Therefore, in the Vedantic context, the world is Avastu. The body, Avastu. Everything up to Maya is Avastu. So, Brahman alone is the only Vastu, reality. The word is derived from the root vasati, to exist. Sarvada asti iti vastu, that which exists always, eternal. That which is not negated, that is called vastu. Or in short, satyam. So, vastu swarupam means the nature of reality, svenaiva vedyam. It has to be known by oneself. The nature of reality has to be known by oneself, sputabodha chakshusha, through the eyes of clear understanding. He uses the word bodha or jnana chakshu, because the ordinary eye can never know the reality, cannot see the reality. Therefore, we require the eyes of wisdom. That alone is symbolically represented in the Puranas as the third eye in the forehead. It's a symbolic eye of jnana. And some people think that there is a physical eye. There's no such thing. Some people call it Agnya Chakram. And even Agnya Chakram is symbolic. There is no such thing called a physical or subtle eye. If at all you call it subtle eye, it should be understood as Antakarana. Agnya Chakram also should be understood as Antakaranam only. Do not think that physically 6 chakras are there and it's going to do this. And when Agnya Chakram is activated, wisdom will take place. All these are not true. Agnya Chakram means buddhi, activation of buddhi is done through Vedantic study. You cannot activate your Agnya Chakra by pranayama. If all Agnya Chakra is activated, it means the activation of buddhi, which means Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. If you want to try by any other method, you can try. It would not work. Therefore, Bodha Chakshushu means knowledge born out of Shastra Vichara. Through that alone, the nature of reality has to be known. And that too by svena eva. That is important. Svena eva means by oneself. You gotta do it yourself. No proxy. If the intellect can be loaned or borrowed, no, it cannot be done. So if it is done that one person gets sadhana chatushraya sampatti, one day the intellect would be loaned, if that is possible. It's worth waiting. Because getting that, all those qualifications, Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam, so difficult. All the trouble and then transfer that intellect to me. Just for a loan, I will use it, get my moksha. Such things will never happen. I have to refine my buddhi. I have to gain the knowledge. Let it take 500 million janmas. Does not matter. We have to do it. Therefore, Svenaiva Vedyam, natu Panditena, not by any other wise man. Anyena Panditena, that Anya word is important. It's not said here, not by any other wise man. Only we have to know that. And he also gives an example. Chandra Swarupam Nijachakshushaiva Jnatavyam. Takes a beautiful example of the moon. Because in the scriptures, moon is presented as the source of delight. That's true also. When you see the full moon, certainly there is Anand. The moon is Anand Janakam. Atma is also Anand Janakam. Hence the moon example is given here. So this pleasing form of the moon, this attractive form of the moon, the cooling form of the moon, Nija Chakshusha eva Jnatavyam, has to be experienced, has to be directly known by one's own eyes only. Even in the case of eyes, now the science is advanced enough to transplant eyes also. Eye donation is possible. Therefore, we can give the eyes after death or even while alive. Kidney can be donated. But in one donation is not possible. Buddhi donation. Fortunately, Buddhi donation is just not possible. So, Chandra Swarupam Nija Chakshushaiva Jnatavyam. Nija means one's own. Has to be known by one's own eye only. Anyaihi avagamyate kim. How can I experience the beauty of the moon with the help of somebody else's eyes? Not possible. The same way, this knowledge has to be, you have to get it yourself and get liberated. Continuing, verse 55. Avidya kama karmadi. Avidya kama karmadi. Pashabandham vimochitam. Pashabandham vimochitam. Kakshak shaknuyat vinatmanam. Kashaknuyat vinatmanam. Kalpakotishathairapi. Kalpakotishathairapi. Avidya kama karmadi. Pashabandham vimochitum. Kakshaknuyat vinatmanam. Kalpakotishathairapi. The same idea is repeated and reinforced to emphasize purushartha, self-effort. Of course, other people can give assistance, can help. Of course, the guru teaches, and by the teaching only you get that knowledge. Shastra is also there, that will also assist. Guru Kripa certainly can help. Shastra Kripa helps. Even Ishvara Kripa can only give assistance, but none of them can replace our free will or self effort. So, that free will, that Purushartha has to be appropriately used, and all others will definitely assist, help. So, Bhashikara further asks, Atmanam Vina Kaha Bandham Vimochitum Kaha Shaknuyat. Even God cannot remove in my bondage. Guru cannot remove my bondage. Shastra cannot remove. They all can help in the process. If I try, if I work for it, they all can help me. They themselves cannot do anything without my effort. The Pasha Bandham, the bondage in the form of those shackles, Vimochitum, Kashakniyat, who can remove? Atmanam Vina, without oneself. Even if all others are working for Kalpa Koti Shatairapi, Koti Shatam, Koti Shatam, you calculate it is 1 billion kalpas. One day of Brahmaji is called Kalpa, and that is 2000 Chaturyugas. Even Chaturyuga, each Chaturyuga is 4.32 million human years. So you can calculate how long is 1 billion kalpas. You can try. Try to find somebody in each of your janma. It won't help. You got to do it yourself. What is the bondage? The usual shackle may be a rope or a chain made of iron or steel. Human bondage is not made up of iron or steel or rope. It's made up of a powerful string, unseen string with 3 strands. Sometimes a string, a big rope is made up of 2 or more or 3 strands put together. That gives it more strength. Similarly, the samsara bandha is a fat rope. This is of 3 strands intertwined. What are these? What are those 3 strands? Avidya is one strand. Kama is a reinforcing second strand, second string. Karma is the third string. Not only that, secondary ones are also, they are also there. For example, karma palam. When karma is there, karma palam has to be there. So all these strings put together, each one by itself may be small, so thin, you can easily break. But when you join those strands together, many of them become so strong that you cannot cut it. They have become such a powerful shackle consisting of avidya, kama, karma. What is avidya? Ignorance. Ignorance of what? Whenever we say ignorance, we should ask the question, ignorance of what? We are ignorant of so many things. Not all of them will create problems. In Vedantic context, ignorance means Atma Vidya, ignorance of my own real nature, self-ignorance, ignorance of the self. That is avidya. The next strand is Kama. desire, which is the consequence of avidya. Not knowing who or what I truly am, I take myself to be something else, limited, incomplete. So I think if I get this, or if I'm with this person, I will become complete. So kama is born out of this avidya. My real nature is purnatvam, fullness only. But if I'm not aware of that, if I'm not knowledgeable about that, if I'm ignorant of my fullness, I will mistake myself to be incomplete. So purnatva ajnanam will cause amatva adhyasa. Not knowing I am purna, I superimpose apurnatva on myself, incompleteness on myself. So the ignorance of completeness leads to the notion of incompleteness. All of us are born ignorant only. Because of ignorance only we are born. Therefore, all of us are born with the notion of being incomplete. So once I've concluded that I'm incomplete, then I have to struggle to make myself complete. The struggle for completion first appears as desire, kama. So then to fulfill that, I have to do karma. So kama leads to varieties of karma. And struggle for completion finally leads to varieties of karma, pravritti, nivritti, going after something and getting rid of something else. They are all called karma. And karma leads to karma palam, which in turn leads to punarjanma. So this cyclic process of struggle is called the powerful shackle. And this you cannot get rid of by any method other than knowing the fact that I am Purnaha myself. That Mula Vidya, that root ignorance, you got to remove that. Then everything falls into place. I do not need any external thing for my happiness. And those external things cannot make me complete either. We have to get that knowledge very clear. And that he says in the next verse, Na yogena sankhena, na yogena sankhena, karmana no na vidyaya, karmana no na vidyaya, brahmatmaikatva bodhena, brahmatmaikatva bodhena, मोक्षसिद्ध्यति नान्यथा मोक्षसिद्ध्यति नान्यथा न योगेन सांख्येन कर्मणा नो न विद्यया ब्रह्मात्मैकत्वबोधेन मोक्षसिद्ध्यति नान्यथा. Now, we had emphasized Purushartha, self-effort. It's true, but that alone is not enough. There are a few things that you have to watch out for. The self-effort should be in the right direction and in adequate measure. You have to put forth effort in the right direction. I get into the metro station, I see trains running. Some trains run in one direction, the other set of trains run in the opposite direction. I should hop into the train that runs in the direction of my destination. If not, not only will I not reach my destination, if the direction is improper, I'll be going away from my destination. So the right direction is important. This I am talking from my personal exam. I've done that a few times. So when you get into the metro station, everything looks the same. So you got to be careful. So you need to be on the right track, the right direction. Even the right direction is not enough. I have to travel far enough. Desired destination. If I jump off before I reach my destination, I travel in the right direction, but I have not traveled far enough. So that's why we say the self-effort should be in the right direction as well as it should be adequate. Guruji often says good, but not good enough. So should be enough effort should be there. So here Shankaracharya says the proper self-effort is Vedantic study. And of course, that assumes that person has the sadhana chatushraya sampatti. We have already talked about all those qualifications elaborately here in Vivekachudamani. That fourfold qualifications we should have in abundance. If they are not there, the proper effort, first proper effort is sadhana chatushraya sampatti, to gain the purity of mind. And then having gained that, jnana yogyata, eligibility for knowledge, the next step is the Vedantic study, which is called Shravanam. Later he will say Shravanam is not complete because Vedanta Shravanam is proper effort, but still it is not adequate enough. Must be followed by Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Mere Shravanam is only proper effort, good start, not adequate effort. Only in very rare cases, when that seeker is very well prepared, Shravanam itself will give the final result. Very rare. But for most people, some more work needs to be done. Therefore, in the following verses, Shankaracharya emphasizes the propriety and the adequacy of the effort. Without Vedantic study, a person may do various other things. So many things he can do. And he does it sincerely also. So many other things. But all that sincerity is useless for your final destination. All of them have their own benefits. Not saying they don't have zero benefits, they have some benefits, but for the seeker whose ultimate goal is Parama Purushartha, that will not be achieved. So that's what he says here. Yogena na moksha siddhyati. One may study Yoga Shastra extremely well. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, a person may know, not only know, he may practice also. He knows and he practices. It is utterly useless because Yoga Shastra talks about Dvaitam only, and that only keeps that person in bondage. According to Yoga Shastra, Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara, all these three are different. Jiva is never Ishvara. Ishvara is never Jagat. They're all different. So Yoga Shastra is Dvaita Shastra. Even if a person studies Ashtanga Yoga, a wonderful discipline. It's a wonderful discipline. Great benefits are there. It's wonderful for integrating your personality. It does a wonderful work on your physical, emotional, intellectual, everything. And integrates all of them. But such integration alone does not give moksha. Yoga Shastra cannot give you this Aikya Jnanam. Jiva Brahma Aikya Jnanam, it does not give. Because it still deals with Veda Jnanam only. Even the Atma is many, according to you. Atma Bahutva Darshanam it is. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, use yoga for what it is meant for. Integration. Preparation, adequate preparation gives you excellent preparation. Once you get that, you have to renounce that and come to Jnana. You can use yoga for maintaining your health. Excellent. For gaining mastery over your mind. Yes, you can get the focus of mind. Nothing more than that. So, yogena moksha na siddhyati. No moksha, no liberation through yoga. What about Sankhya Shastra? Na Sankhya. No. Even Sankhya philosophy cannot give moksha. Why? Because again, Sankhya philosophy also is Dvaita Shastra. Talks about the difference between Jiva and Jagat. It also says Atmas are many in number. In fact, Sankhya and Yoga are very close schools of thought. Quite often, Sankhya and Yoga, we talk about together. A few differences are there. We've seen all that. We studied Vedanta Sara, we discussed all that. In Mandukya Karika also, there is elaborate discussion. We've seen that. Among the many differences, one difference is Sankhya does not even accept Ishvara. Yoga adds Ishvara to Sankhya philosophy. Therefore, they have Jiva, Jagat alone, whereas Yoga has all three, Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. But both of them, not Advaita. So, Sankhya cannot give moksha. When we use the word Sankhya, please remember the word Sankhya has two meanings. One is the Sankhya philosophy of Kapila Muni, and that is also Dvaita Shastram. The word Sankhya is also used in the meaning of Vedanta also. That's why the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called what? Sankhya Yoga. In Bhagavata Puranam, there is a Sankhya taught by Kapila, adding to the confusion. There the word Kapila does not refer to Kapila Muni of Dvaita Sankhya Shastram, but to Kapila as avatar. Bhagavatam also Advaita Sankhya alone is talked about. So the Dvaita Sankhya is given by Kapila Muni, Advaita Sankhya is given by Kapila Avataram. Kapila Muni is different, Kapila Avataram is different. Kapila Muni cannot liberate. The Advaita Sankhya of Kapila Avatara alone can liberate. That's the idea. Na Sankhyena should be understood as the Dvaita Sankhya cannot give moksha. Then Karmana no moksha siddhyati. By Vaidika rituals or Laukika, worldly actions also. liberation is not possible. We should carefully understand all this. Shankaracharya is not criticizing the rituals. And Bhashyakara himself had said, if you remember, earlier in the 11th verse of Vivekacu itself, he has said, Chittasya Shuddhaye Karma. Purity of mind comes through karma. So karma is necessary. It's a preparation to purify the mind. He is only criticizing the continuation of karma after gaining the purity of mind. You have to do the rituals. You have to do the prayers, japa, etc. After some time, gradually grow out of it. Replace it by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. That we have to understand very clearly. There is a role for them, but you must understand what its role is. Therefore, na karmana means karma after purity is to be conducted. Giving up karma before purity is dangerous. You would not even come to jnana. So he has renounced karma also. He will not get the benefit of purity of mind. Then he will become worse than a human being. Gita also it is said that they alone become Rakshasas. So here na karmana moksha means karma gives only purity of mind but not moksha. Similarly, na vidyaya. Na vidyaya, the word vidya here should be taken as upasana. Be very careful in these things. Vidya here is upasana, meditation. Saguna Ishvara Dhyana. Yoga Shastra also talks about meditation, various chakras. They say meditate upon Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, Agnya Chakra, all that. Vedanta doesn't accept all that. It's an unvedic prescription of meditation. If you want to meditate, Veda also says meditate upon Ishvara, meditate upon the Lord within yourself. Saguna Brahma Upasana is there, Nirguna Brahma Upasana is there. Those are few who are studying Panchadashi with me. When we go to the 9th chapter, we will talk about Nirguna Brahma Upasana. It is there. But here what we are talking about is just Upasana. So imagine your heart, and in the heart you visualize Rama, Krishna, Devi, Ishtadevata. When there is a contradiction between yoga and Veda, we renounce yoga. When there is agreement, it's no problem. We accept the Yoga Shastra for all its benefits. Benefits of pranayama, pratyahara, etc. Very good. Practice them. They're not an end in itself. Just enough to get its benefit. Very good means. Vedanta is not there to quieten the mind. Vedanta study is made by an already quietened mind. Upasana alone can quieten the mind. Okay, give the focus of mind. Very important. Again, if you renounce that prematurely, you'll be in trouble. So, na vidyaya means after quietening the mind through upasana, grow out of it and commit yourself to Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana to gain moksha. Just upasana, just karma or upasana. Na karmana, na vidyaya. Through that, you will not get moksha. So you say yoga, sankhya, karma, upasana, none of them will give you moksha. And what will give moksha? So he says, Brahma Atma Ekatva Bodhena. Only the identity of Brahma and Atma will give you moksha, the knowledge of that. And getting established only through Advaita Jnanam alone, moksha siddhyati na anyata. Liberation is attained only by that and not by any other means. Om Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.